Let's bring in Greg Stoker now. He's Mint Press News' military and geopolitical analyst, and he joins us from Austin, Texas. Hi there, Greg. It's good seeing you. So you recently mentioned that the U.S. is waiting to see if Iran is strong enough to resist Israel. In your view, how is Iran demonstrating that strength, and how might U.S. decision makers interpret it as a deterrent or as a trigger for deeper involvement?
Right. So basically what we've been witnessing, we're going into the second week of an aerial distance conflict, and we're seeing both sides, Iran and Israel, play a game of munitions brinksmanship. Iran with its long-range ballistic missiles and Israel with its interceptors, that generally in the form of the Arrow 3 direct interception munitions. So we're seeing salvos happen every night. The Israeli Air Force is conducting bombing sorties with U.S. involvement, obviously, and day after day after day, we're seeing a kind of slight escalation, de-escalation. But what everyone's really looking open source analysis is what are the depths of the Iranian arsenal stockpiles and how much interception capacity does Israel have left. And one thing that may drive U.S. decision making is if they feel like the Israelis are unable to defend themselves without further United States logistical support. So if the air defense capacity continues to degrade, and I've seen some reports via Times of Israel, Haaretz, that they have about like 10 to 12 days worth of stockpiles. That could just be a strategic leak. That could just be misinformation coming from Israeli sources. But it kind of echoes the 2 weeks that Trump's put out. And of course, you know, that was a mantra from his first administration that we're all very well aware of. But this brinksmanship of munitions is definitely playing into decision-making at the Pentagon.
You also flagged Iran obtaining Israeli intelligence as a pivotal moment that could unleash full-scale war. What kind of intel shift are we talking about, and how does that change the dynamics on the ground or in the region?
Well, first of all, like right before the hostilities commenced, there was reports of a massive intelligence breach, agents associated with Israel's intelligence services maintained a plethora of documents. Iran has released some, more of as like an information operation PR stunt. We haven't seen any follow-up. So it's hard to determine what that leaked intelligence is influencing behind the scenes.
Before I let you go, Greg, you've described this as the start of a new global war on terror and suggested Iran is being strategically isolated. Do you think this is an echo of old Cold War patterns, or are we seeing a new shift in how global powers are aligning?
Well, just from the global war on terror, which I fought in for years in a special operations capacity, is the exact same propaganda that we saw prior to the 2003 invasion of Iraq, which is an absolute disaster. So, you know, the promise, the threat of a nuclear weapons program, the weaponization of women's rights in order to justify Western intervention. We have to save the women from the Taliban. We have to save the women from Iran. So we're seeing these old established propaganda trends go forward. But of course, Iran is a completely different beast than Iraq. It's 5 times the size, has a larger population. It's mountainous instead of flat. It's a nightmare. It's a garrison state with militias throughout the country. I think that there's a lot of ideology driving the Washington decision makers. You know, there's been this long-standing hawkish desire to collapse Iran in order to isolate China. It has a budding security relationship with Russia right now, and it's basically the U.S. cannot tolerate regional hegemons or regional challenges to its imperium, especially in West Asia. So there's talk about regime change operations. Those aren't really viable right now. They're using the model of Syria and Libya, but these are templates that these decision makers use. And I don't think a lot of people expect like a regime change, even though they are trying to assassinate the Ayatollah most likely this weekend. So the situation is dynamic. It's ambiguous. We have conflicting messages
Greg,
from the White House.
You think they're going to try to assassinate the Supreme Leader this weekend?
I mean, that's kind of their modus operandi. It's not an outlandish assumption. Israel Katz has said it, as you mentioned at the beginning of the summit, and then Leiter, the Israeli ambassador to the United States, said earlier that they are planning an operation that will make the pager attack look like nothing, essentially. So this is not beyond the pale, and I'm kind of expecting this or some sort of military escalatory action over the weekend. Not necessarily with U.S. involvement, but this isn't over by any stretch.
I believe they have now Greg Stoker at Mint Press News. Appreciate the perspective. Thank you.